Go. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first Cargo Bike Talk. My name is Jos Sluismans, and I'm the director of the International Cargo Bike Festival and your host for tonight. I was very pleased that I was invited here by the city of Groningen to do this Cargo Bike Talk. Very happy to be back in Groningen, the city where we had the Cargo Bike Festival last year in 2019. And we are back here to talk about cyclogistics. And I'm not talking about cyclogistics. We invited three people to talk about cyclogistics from three different European cities, all participants of the Circle of Log Interact program. And before starting everything, I would like to ask everybody to introduce themselves. But before that, I have no idea who is listening all around, but you do have the possibility to participate. We have a chat box, and so when you have questions, you can ask these questions, and we will try to answer some of these questions during this evening tonight. Okay. Well, now I would like to introduce the three guests. First of all, from Belgium, Ineke Vos from Ecocouriers in Mechelen. Can you please introduce yourself briefly, Ineke?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ineke. I founded together with my colleague Veerle the Ecocouriers in Mechelen, in the city of Mechelen, between Antwerp and Brussels. That was in 2015. We started with one bicycle courier, and now we are offering a lot of logistic solutions to companies, stores, shops in Mechelen to just people together with City Hub in Mechelen near the city center.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we go over to Scotland, to Charlie Mellon. Can you shortly tell us who you are?
Hi there, my name is Charlie Mulholland. I run a company called Zedify. I run the Glasgow and Edinburgh offices of Zedify in the UK. We've got 8 offices around the UK operating cargo bikes, and I've met Jos and some of the other people in the room from being involved in the Surflog project, which is we've been involved with on the basis of working with cargo bikes in a city that hasn't had cyclogistics in the past. So looking at sustainable first and last miles predominantly.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We will get back to that later. And then our third guest is here with us in the studio, Pieter Rugge from Go Fast Fietscouriers in Groningen. Shortly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jos. My name is Peter Rugge, 32 years old, and I'm a cargo bike messenger here in the city of Groningen. Also the founder of Go Fast Bike Messengers and City Logistics. I founded this company by myself in 2016. And we are a small company being run by 6 people now, using 3 cargo bikes. And in our city there was already a lot of bicycle logistics. So we started focusing on new target audiences here in Groningen. So just trying to introduce new bicycle logistics to the city. And we also help companies with transition to zero emission logistics, showing them what bicycle logistics can do for their companies by replacing vans by cargo bikes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. So we have international participants here now tonight, from Scotland, from Belgium, and from the Netherlands, of course. The Surflog project was already mentioned. Surflog is for the Sustainable Urban Freight Logistics Hubs, and the main challenge for this project is to achieve more efficient cargo distribution in urban areas, and to promote efficient logistics sustainably in small and medium-sized cities. Well, I'd like to start with the first question that I will have for all of you. That is, you're part of this SurfLog project, and how is your business helping to make logistics more sustainable? And can you tell us a little bit more about the relationship with the SurfLog project, how you help the SurfLog project and how the SurfLog project helps you? Peter, can you start with that?
Yes. For our SurfLog project, simply called Go Fast City Logistics, we try to create a new city logistics service containing all 3 miles of city logistics. The first mile, the last mile, and of course the only mile, the A to B inner city rides. This isn't really something new, but the new part for us was that we wanted to make a new service that would be able to be profitable within the first year. So when the project ends, we can maintain Go Fast City Logistics as a stable part of the services we provide. And now you're wondering, of course, how is that possible?
Yeah. Is it working?
Yeah. Well, most hub concepts focus on the hub and everything that is needed to keep the hub running. Hubs have a lot of expenses. Think of rent, staff, warehousing equipment, etc. And besides that, they mainly focus on the first and last mile logistics. It's pretty obvious because you need a hub to be able to offer the first and last mile service when you're running the hub. But back in the days, bike messenger companies only provided an only mile service. It was the from A to B within the city. And this is also for Go Fast our most profitable service. So we added
the only mile is the most profitable.
Yeah. So we in the service next to the last and the first mile, we also added the only mile service. Making the whole a bit more profitable. And besides that, we looked for a partner who could help us out with our warehousing needs. And we found this partner in a moving company.
Okay.
Which is really cool because they have a room for warehousing. Moving companies have great logistics skills. And also the people to help us provide packing the bikes, etc. So we don't have to rent an entire hub to give our customers full last and first mile logistics service. Yeah. So that's kind of the big difference between compared to other hub systems.
Thank you. And then the SurfLog project. What is how what's your relationship? How does that work? Did it really help you to get it started?
Really helped me because we are running new projects and you have to run tests and you have to get a clear schedule to be able to do these types of tests. Otherwise, the main focus would be on is it profitable? Can we maintain this? Yes or no? But because of the SurfLog project, we are able to give it a bit more time. And focus on getting our services better, quality better. To take a step back and take it easy and just see what happens. And
it's part of an experiment.
Yeah, it's part of an experiment, but it gives us all the space we need.
Okay.
So that's really, really nice for us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for this complete answer. And Charlie, how is this in Scotland working? In Edinburgh and Glasgow, I think you're operational.
So a lot of what I would say would be very similar to what Peter's just said. In fact, that we started off predominantly as an only mile operator. We call it exactly the same thing: first mile, only mile, last mile. And we started off predominantly only mile. But I think from a management point of view, to scale a business, the only mile is actually quite difficult to scale because the only mile requires a lot of management of the couriers. So you're taking phone calls, you're dispatching. The historic cycle logistics or cycle courier marketplace is that a lot of chatting with the couriers, sending them off A to B. But we made a shift to try and do the Only Mile in a multi-drop setting. So we might collect from a coffee roaster and do multiple drops around the city, or law firms and go to every one of their customers as a round rather than A to B. We would sort of A to B, C, D, E, rather than A to B. And then we started working with TNT doing last mile stuff. So they would bring in, initially it was about 25, 30 parcels a day into our Glasgow office, and we would then distribute them around the city. Just before we went into lockdown, we were up around 150 parcels a day that we were doing with the cargo bikes, which was two cargo bikes relatively easily. Easy runs. And that went down to absolutely nothing when we hit lockdown. But the first mile is actually where I think we could see our most profitable area. So it's interesting what Peter was saying about the Only Mile being the most profitable, because I think that we've got a system now that we're about to launch, which has been assisted by the Surflog funding. We've had the opportunity to invest in working out how to do this, that we're able to, we've set up a website where people can book on and they can choose from a couple of different carriers who they're going to send something out with. So they're booking it as if they went onto DHL's own website, if they send DHL, and then we will go into their office, pick it up, take it back to our hub, where then it'll be taken out by the van. So it'll leave the city in a van as if it was done as normal, but we're doing the multiple collections around the city. And particularly in Edinburgh, I think this will be very, very popular, because Edinburgh is a very historic city, and that means the roads are very small, and it's incredibly difficult to navigate by van. But by bike, we're able to get around remarkably easily. So we can do multiple collections very efficiently and very quickly. And I think that's, if we can sign up people that have daily collections, we can create rounds, essentially, like an old milk round, where you go into the same places day in, day out, and make very efficient runs that way. And then, sorry, I think you're about to.
Well, that's the whole point about cyclogistic, isn't it? To make the city to go into the city with cargo bikes and taking out the vans. So that's
with that. The reason that we've really started looking at the first mile more is that the last mile, there's only a very small number of potential customers. So in Scotland, we've got the likes of DHL, FedEx, DPD, Parcel Force. There's about 10 or 12 major carriers, but for doing the first mile, there's really no limit. There's no limit, because you can go and speak to any shop, any office, and you've got the opportunity to sign up their business. So and that's something that I've seen while doing the last mile stuff, is that we're very reliant on a small number of customers, and that's why the first mile is so appealing.
Yeah, thank you. That's very, very clear. And Ineke, what could you tell us about Mechelen in addition to what Peter and Charlie told us?
Well, also in Mechelen, we offer all the traditional carrier services, last mile, first mile, only mile. We do, since a couple of years, we offer also for the shoppers in Mechelen hands-free shopping. That means that people who visit Mechelen and go shopping there can leave their bags and goods in the shop, and via an app we are noticed that there is a pickup, and we deliver it at the time chosen by the customer at his home. The thing that is special about it is that the shopper can shop in every shop in Mechelen that he wants, and he pays only one fee. Because we really want to support local retail and local shopping. We think that's very important, that we support very, very much our local shopping.
Yeah, sounds very good.
what we also do is every night, every evening, we drive by all the shops in Mechelen to pick up all the e-packages from their web shops, and we take them to the shipping company. We consolidate them and we take them to the shipping company. That is also much appreciated. And as much as we can, we like to incorporate the advantage that we have to have a warehouse and a city hub next to the city of Mechelen. There we have a lot of storage space together with our partner ODTH, who is the owner of the warehouse, and that means that we can offer a lot of logistic solutions besides just the delivery. So they can also ask us to help them with their e-commerce, with their picking and packing, order picking, stuff like that.
And simply storage as well.
Yes, and storage, of course. Yes.
And how is it related with the Surflog project? Was that a lot of help for you to set this all up? Mechelen is quite a small city in comparison with a lot of other cities, so I can imagine that that's something that that's special in your situation.
Yeah, together with the city of Mechelen in the Surflog project, we want to convince shops to explore, in fact, the added value of the last mile. So they can try out a little bit how that works, that their suppliers can deliver their packages at the city hub, and then with bicycle they come to the shop. But we go a little bit further to discover what are the real value added, the added value for the shop. That means time, but also we have zones with zero emission in the center of Mechelen. Some shops like that all their packages come before 10 o'clock, before the shop opens. Other ones that they are consolidated in at Friday, something like that. We go really far in searching for what is important for that shop and how can we help to organize much better their shopping experience.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We go to the next question, and that is very. At this moment, we are living in the times of COVID-19, and some of you already mentioned it. But what was really the effect of the COVID on your business? And for instance, did it go to special projects, local projects, because of COVID-19 that really changed your business because of that? And Charlie, would you start with answering this question?
Okay, so the COVID situation was pretty catastrophic for us, where we had probably about 95% of our work just stopped overnight when the UK went into lockdown. But on this, I can discuss our different offices around the UK, because the situation was very different for the different offices.
So how many offices are there of Zedify? Eight. Okay.
Yeah. So the Glasgow and Edinburgh ones that I operate, Cambridge and London, all saw a massive reduction in work, but the other four actually saw an increase in work, and it was dependent on the type of customers that we had. So people that were dealing in food delivery, like working with grocers, like small marketplace food delivery operators, they saw a huge increase in their work. Whereas I was doing a lot of, we in Scotland were doing a lot of professional service deliveries, so office to office, office supplies, and we did we do medical stuff as well. So moving stuff from hospitals to the university, moving stuff from dentists to various labs around the city. But with that, all of these things just stopped overnight when the UK went into lockdown, and we sort of snuck out of it again. But
How did you do that?
as we've been going along, I've had discussions with the council, and there's been a lot of movement to change how we move things in the city and how the city is laid out over the course of the last 3 or 4 months. And I think there's going to be a huge impact on Cyclogistics being a major player in. I said in Edinburgh that it's a small city with a lot of history and a lot of natural obstacles to traffic flows, and they're intending to make it more difficult to move. So more bus lanes, more cycle lanes being introduced to stop cars, essentially, which also stops vans. So we need to put forward a better case for Cyclogistics, or we need to be the answer with a stronger case for Cyclogistics, so that people can see that we're not going to grind the city to a halt. And I think that while I wouldn't have wished this situation at all, but the outcome personally is relatively interesting in a positive way, that we might be able to come out of this and do okay, because there's a big movement to change how we operate. So we also did work for a lot of the law firms that we traditionally worked with. We helped out moving supplies from their office to their houses over the first few weeks of lockdown. So people that were starting to work from home that needed a home office, we might ship their laptop from the office to their house, or whatever the individual need was for that particular client. But that was a very short-lived operation, but it did sort of open our eyes and allowed us to have a conversation with customers about how we could offer different services that maybe they hadn't thought about before. And because everything was working out okay, they didn't see a need to change. But because now everything's changed, they're more receptive to doing something different.
They are more open for alternatives.
Yeah, but I don't know how it worked in the rest of Europe. But we had a lot of influence. We had a lot of volunteers because people were out of work. So actually, we didn't gain a lot of work that you'd expect, because volunteers were doing the deliveries from pharmacies to people's houses, or from supermarkets to home. It was a lot of that was taken up by the voluntary sector rather than by the business sector.
Yeah. Well, we can hear how the rest of Europe is doing now. So we'll ask Ineke what was exactly the impact of the COVID-19 situation in Mechelen. And you already explained about the hands-free shopping, but I think that already started before COVID. But what changed in Mechelen because of COVID?
Yeah, first of all, it was a very strange period, and we were a bit surprised about the impact. And a lot of our customers, unfortunately, were forced to close their businesses. So we lost a few customers, of course. But in the first weeks, our staff, we planned our staff to work in the distribution centra to help with the supply of warehouses and supermarkets, because there was a big need, and they were all logistic trained people, so that was really welcome. And beside that, we did a lot of volunteer work. We delivered food packages to families who were in need. We delivered laptops to children who need to follow lessons from school at home and had no laptop or online things. We organized the logistic flow with all volunteers who sewed mouth masks and stuff like that. Of course, beside that, we had also a few new customers who started with home delivery, for example, and needed a partner to do the supplies and the deliveries home with the customers. So it was a bit with ups and downs.
Mm.
And I hope when we are in September, October, that we can say that okay, we managed, and we can look forward.
And it sounds that you really like Charlie said also that you reach new customers actually, that people are looking for alternatives, and well, that's what's happening now, and well, we'll have to see whether it will go on after when things normalize. But it's good that people now experience the possibilities of cyclogistics.
Online local shopping is in the lift, and I think that will stay. That will not disappear after COVID-19. Also the home delivery, but that will, I think, when this is really over, that will not stay as much as it is today. But we will see. There are a lot of shops and businesses who made, finally the shift
To
the online world. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And then Peter, what happened in Groningen?
Yes, for us was a pretty similar story compared to Edinburgh. For the past 3 years, GoFast mainly focused on business-to-business delivery, thinking of printing offices, bakers, liquor stores, coffee roasters, supermarkets, etc. Empty mailboxes and stuff like that. Also worked for a local library. Right, it dropped for over 50%. So sales value dropped for over 50% in the first month. So that was quite a shocker. On the other hand, we had a lot of small shops as a customer, kind of sleeping customers. They had maybe a couple of rides a month. So we weren't really focused on those customers, but
Now they came.
Now they came to us again, saying that they want to do something special for their customers in Groningen. So we said yes, of course, we're up for that. So
and I think also Warenhuis Groningen was one of the initiatives that grew because of you participate in that as well, don't you?
Yes, that's true. Warenhuis Groningen is a city web shop. You can see it as a city web shop with all the local shops displayed on one website, with the free bicycle logistic companies from Groningen delivering in Groningen. Same day delivery, next day delivery, and that also gives a new B2C deliveries. It's just starting to gain immediately, and also small bookshop, which sometimes we have one book a month. Now we in April we delivered over 200 to 300 books.
Okay, yeah.
So that's huge for such a small shop. So
So people have more time to read as well, probably.
Yeah, probably.
At home.
A lot changed, and our business to business. It hasn't been back to its old level, and B2C is now really it hasn't recovered. B2C is still going strong.
Okay,
and
well,
be.
Let's keep it that way then.
Yeah.
Well, we also said that that people could bring in questions through the chat, and I've got a question here from it's actually from the Surflog organization, from the project. What is your greatest motivation? What is your greatest your main motivation to do the work what you do? Is it the planet? Is it having your own business, or is it the physical activity, having your gym outside? Maybe you can start, and then we do the round again.
For me, it's quite simple. I saw so many chances for the cargo bike in Groningen. We had loads of cargo bikes already, but I just saw some new possibilities.
Yeah.
And I just thought, let's just go for it. And well, almost for 4 years in, yeah, it's starting to happen. So that's wonderful. It's wonderful to be part of a new movement. Using the cargo bike, yeah, it's all almost becoming a statement.
Yeah, but for what reason? Is it the sustainability, or is it the being outside, or what is the thing that attracts you? I mean, there are a lot of people that see cargo bikes, but there are only very few people that make a business out of it.
Yeah, probably bike culture.
Bike culture.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Groningen was called the G-spot of bicycle culture by Michael Gould Anderson. So then you're on the right spot, I guess.
Yes.
Ineke, what's your main motivation?
Yeah, what I think is important that we contribute to evaluate to a livable, enjoyable city, and therefore, we need to be more sustainable, more ecological. That I think it's a big driver for me. Another driver is that we help people to a job. We give them education, we give them training, and that for me is also an important factor to do this job.
Yeah. You told me you have a lot of employees that we call people with a distance to the labor market, and you offer jobs and education
we give
to them.
them. Yeah, there is a high need of logistic profiles, but the people that we work with at Eco Couriers don't have access to those jobs. And in the time that they are at Eco Couriers, we offer them training and a growth path to a good job in logistics. The other thing is that we have a certain responsibility also towards companies and retailers in the city to help them to organize their logistics on a sustainable way, because they don't always have the right know-how or the expertise or all the tools to do that, and therefore help them to grow to a sustainable retail, business, shop, whatever.
Okay, thank you. I thought you brought your assistant, Charlie.
Yeah, his mum was looking for something upstairs.
Okay. Okay. What's your main motivation to work with cargo bikes, with cycle logistics?
So I've always worked outside, and I was a professional rowing coach for 10 years before I did this. And when I left coaching, I just was looking for a job and worked for what was then called Outspoken in Cambridge. And just from day one of being on a cargo bike, I just really enjoyed it and spent my whole time riding around thinking, if I ran the business, how would I do it myself? So my wife, who just left the room, is Scottish and wants to move back to Scotland. So when she was doing that, I was thinking, well, I've been doing this as a job for the previous 7 months at that stage. I actually really enjoy this. I quite like the idea of, at that stage, I really like the idea of working for myself. So it started off that I wanted to be outside. I like the idea of working for myself. And then the two sort of combined to throw me into starting my own cargo bike delivery service. And but it wasn't really by design. I didn't have a great inspiration to do this particularly, but now I'm involved. I've grown more interested in some of the other aspects that maybe you mentioned in your question there. Like now that I'm out in the city cycling all day, I'd really rather not be breathing in so many fumes. So that's become an inspiration, but it wasn't necessarily the initial inspiration that got me into it. And a lot of the other environmental issues and things like this, they've become sort of personal, political drives, I suppose, but they weren't the the initial driver.
Okay. Yeah. So you grew into that more or
Yeah,
less.
I grew it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well, I have another question here, and I would like to ask you guys what's your opinion on what is crucial to give cargo bike logistics a boost, and how do you see the developments in the future of cycle logistics? And Ineke, would you like to start with answering this question?
Yeah, we always need to reinvent a little bit our services, and we do a lot of pilots, a lot of tests to increase the efficiency, but also the tools that we work with. In Mechelen, we will start a project to test out a mobile hub in the city center in combination with bicycles. So not only the bicycles
How does this mobile hub look like?
Well, that is an electric van. Will take all the goods from the city hub and will be parked in the city center. And from that point, everything will be delivered or by hand, or by bicycle, or by whatever. So that we maximize our impact. That's key, I think.
Yeah.
That we maximize our zero emission flow.
And can I ask you how many people are working now at EcoCouriers?
Yeah, we have a team between 15 people. But as I told you, it's not only bicycle couriers. It's also people who work in the warehouse in the city hub to do other things in logistics services. Yeah.
And do you expect that the number of employees will be growing, or will it, will this be for Mechelen be the amount of people that can work in cycle logistics?
I think it can still grow. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it can still grow. Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. And Peter, what is your what do you how do you think that cycle logistics would get what is crucial to give it a boost to make it even more grow?
Well, projects like Surflog gave us a great chance to grow our business. And
so there should be more projects like that.
Yeah, for instance, but and otherwise, I really don't know.
Have no, just really thought about it.
No, just keep on going. And
there is an organic growth actually.
Yeah, I think so, because we've came up with City Logistics Go Fast, and now we're already switching to way more B2C. So I think you have to be creative as a business owner in cycling logistics. Stay creative and try to do new things.
And
always.
Pick up the opportunities.
Pick up the opportunities that are heading your way. Like we're doing it right now, starting with more retailers in B2C. Also, just go for it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And Charlie, what do you think that cycle logistics needs for next boost?
I think some of what we need is a change in public perception of what is possible by bike. So when I go to speak to potential customers and tell them that we've got trikes that can carry 1/4 of a ton, they think I'm talking. They think I'm absolutely mad. But we can carry larger volumes than a lot of people anticipate that we can carry, and we can carry them with relative ease. So that's a changing of perception that a vast number of vans that operate in cities at the moment don't have more than could be carried in a cargo bike anyway. So it's having that discussion with a retailer, for example, that might be considering buying a new van and saying, well, have you thought about doing this with a bike? And in Scotland, in the two cities I operate in particular, we have a problem that Peter doesn't have to cope with, that we have pretty big hills. And I've been to Connaught and I've seen how fast it and that's another thing that with the improvement of electric cargo bikes and the e-cargo bike, that's something that's making our lives a lot easier. So when I started this 6 years ago, I did it with exclusively non-electric cargo bikes, and now I think we've got one bike that's still not electric, and that gets used in emergencies. That generally we're on electric cargo bikes now, and it changes the perception for customers, and also just if you see a cargo bike in Scotland, there's a huge chance that I'm the owner of that bike. Yeah. Which, if I step off the train in Honeghan, I wouldn't have a clue who owned the cargo bike that went past me. But if you see one in Glasgow or Edinburgh, very, very high chance that I'm the owner.
Okay. Do you expect more companies starting to use cargo bikes doing the deliveries themselves, or that there will be other cyclogistics companies starting, because there is a potential still?
It's definitely happened in Edinburgh. There's at least 4 or 5 companies that have started using cargo bikes in the last 6 months that weren't using them before. There's a couple of others that were using them before. But as I say, the cargo bike marketplace in Edinburgh is almost non-existent compared to some other cities. So that's actually a huge shift, even though it's a very small number. But to me, as a business, it doesn't matter if people are using, if a shop or a retailer has a need to have a bike on the road exclusively for their stuff, brilliant. But that's changing the landscape, so that the council, when they see who's using, they build the roads for who's using them, not for Great White Hope. And at the moment there's a lot of vans and there's a lot of cars on the road, so we have to keep building the roads to cope with the cars and the vans. But if we can get more bikes on the road, then more infrastructure for bikes will be built. And I know that the Dutch did it you've done it a different way.
Yeah.
Well, that was 40, 50 years ago, and that's a big difference to what we have to cope with.
That's actually exactly what's. I got another question from the chat box, and I don't know who the question asked, but it's about this infrastructures. From how is the infrastructure in your city, and also road safety. Well, you already told us a little bit about that. How is that in Mechelen? Is there are bike lanes? Are cars really taking care of cyclists, or is that a big problem? And what are the developments, Ineke?
Yeah, the city of Mechelen does a lot for bicycles. It's a bicycle city. They received an award for that, and we have several bicycle streets, how we call them, fietsstraten, in our city, where bicycles can drive in full occupants of the streets, and the cars need to be behind them, cannot cross them. They do a lot. They do a lot for.
Yeah. So you're quite satisfied about the infrastructure, actually.
Yeah. Of course, it can always be better, because infrastructure is always a weak point, because it needs to be. There is a lot of maintenance to keep that clean. But I don't think that we can comply.
Yeah. And I know Groningen a little bit, but I think it's actually in reality, it's the
heaven.
world's cycling city, so
Yeah.
I hardly have to ask you, but what's
Yeah.
your opinion? And maybe there are some places where you say this could be better or
Groningen is truly cycling heaven, even compared to other Dutch cities.
Mhm.
No weird stuff in Groningen, yeah, for cars maybe, but it's more bicycle friendly, car unfriendly. So that's what we like as cyclists, and nothing to complain. Really,
Okay.
nothing to complain.
So, Charlie, maybe you should try to get your council members to visit some cities like Mechelen or Groningen to see what's going on and what's possible, and to make. So maybe we can arrange something like that.
With that, we are at least moving in a positive direction. That there are massive improvements being made at the moment, which has been over the last 2 or 3 years. That there's been a big shift, but still, it's we're again, as I say, I've been to Groningen, and we're a long way off. We are a long way behind, but it is at least we're taking steps in the right direction.
Okay, well, keep on doing that, I'd say. I think we only have for some minutes, maybe 2 minutes more. So take your chance, and when you have to say something to our listeners, or something that you would like that we haven't discussed that you would like to talk about very much to tell us, take your chance, Peter.
Well, it was really inspiring to hear from my colleagues from the other cities. Thank you very much. Very inspiring, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay, Ineke, is there something you
Yeah,
would like to add?
Yeah, we certainly keep in touch. It's nice to hear that we work all for the same purpose and for the same goal. So that's nice.
Okay, thank you. And Charlie?
I'd like to say thank you very much for having me on the call. I couldn't actually hear Ineke at all during it, so I didn't hear any of her answers. But
Okay, that's too bad.
From what I heard of Peter, it sounds like we've had a very similar experience through the last few months. It's quite reassuring to hear from someone else that's been through the same sort of experience, and that's and that everything's, I think, looking quite positive for this sector moving forward is also very exciting. So yeah, thank you very much for having me on the call.
Well, thank you all for being here. It was very nice talking to you and to hear all the experiences in the different cities. Well, you said you could not hear what Ineke said, but there's this is all recorded, and you can watch it at the Let's Grow website. It will be there for I don't know for how long, but you can watch it again, and so we can also share with other people to watch this, and let's hope that mainly the infrastructure in Scotland will be better in a few years, and that all cyclogistics will grow all over the place. So keep on rolling, I'd say. And thank you all for listening. I have no idea how many people have been listening, but I'm quite sure that there will be some people that were here. And I'm not sure whether we will have a second or third cargo bike talk, but the intention is there to do this more often, and I hope to see you all again some other time. And thank you for listening, all of you, wherever you are. Goodbye.